When someone misses you but doesn't want to admit it, they'll often cling to subtle forms of connection. It's not about bold declarations or dramatic messages. It's quiet, it's restrained, but it's deliberate. One of the most common signs that she's still emotionally tied to you, despite what she says, is that she keeps herself woven into your digital world. She won't say she misses you, but she'll react to your story. She won't send a direct message, but she'll drop a like on a photo from months ago. And maybe she doesn't comment, but she's watching. You know it. She's there, silently sitting in the background of your life, waiting for something, but not quite willing to make the first real move. And this isn't accidental. These micro-signals are calculated, they're safe, because in her mind, if she can stay in your orbit without risking rejection, she's still close enough to feel your energy. She's testing the waters without saying she's testing them. She might even try to make it look casual. Oh, I didn't even realize I liked that post. But that's not how the mind works. When you're trying to move on, your instinct is to unfollow, to block, to disengage. But when she's still emotionally entangled, she'll stay tethered through the smallest string she can manage. You need to understand the psychology behind it. People, especially those who are emotionally guarded, often mask vulnerability through passive actions. That doesn't mean they don't feel deeply. It means they're afraid of what it would cost to be open about it. So she uses what's available to her. Your feeds, your updates, your online presence become a lifeline. She clings to them because they offer a glimpse of you without requiring courage. And for someone who's emotionally conflicted, missing you, but afraid of what re-entry might cost, that's the perfect compromise. This can be incredibly confusing if you're not grounded. You'll start to wonder, why is she still here? Why hasn't she reached out if she cares? But that's the paradox of pride and longing. She wants to be close, but not vulnerable. She wants your attention, but not the pain of rejection. And so, instead of speaking from her heart, she settles for staying in sight, just enough to matter, not enough to get hurt. And that's where your clarity needs to rise. Don't respond to the breadcrumbs unless you want to reopen a path. Recognize them for what they are. Silent admissions of care, veiled confessions of longing, disguised as casual engagement. She may not say she misses you, but if she keeps finding reasons to stay emotionally present, she's not over you. She's just too afraid to say it. When someone tries to convince themselves they're over you, their behavior often swings to the extreme. If she truly didn't care, you wouldn't see sudden outbursts of attention-seeking or strange attempts to provoke a response. But when she does care deeply and just doesn't want to admit it, she'll sometimes try to pretend she's thriving without you. She might post photos where she looks extra happy, extra free, as if to send a message, look at me, I've moved on. But that's rarely what's actually happening underneath. See, real peace is quiet. It doesn't need to prove anything. But emotional turbulence, that screams through behavior that feels forced. You'll see her being louder online, showing up in unexpected places, suddenly becoming more visible in ways that almost beg for your attention. It's not always about trying to get you back directly. Sometimes it's about proving something to herself, that she's unaffected, that she's strong enough without you. But deep down, those performances are often about unresolved attachment, about hoping you'll see it, notice it, and wonder what it means. And this doesn't come from a place of malice, it comes from inner conflict. She misses you but doesn't know how to handle that feeling. She's caught between pride and pain. One part of her wants to reach out, the other part tells her not to lose face. So instead of choosing connection, she chooses the illusion of indifference, but she does it in a way that still circles back to you. That contradiction is the giveaway. It's tempting to respond to these signals, to think maybe this means she wants to talk, maybe this is a sign she's still open. And sometimes, yes, it might be. But you need to recognize the difference between real vulnerability and emotional theater. Because chasing someone who's performing instead of expressing is a dead end. It's your job to decipher her confusion or chase validation through ambiguity. Let her actions speak, and let them do so clearly. When you step back, when you don't react to the show, it often creates the very silence she was trying to drown out with noise. And that silence, that's where the truth begins to hit her. That's when she realizes her efforts didn't bring you back, that her indirect signals didn't work, and that, maybe, the attention she's craving can't be earned through pretending she doesn't care. That's when the mask starts to crack. That's when missing you becomes real, even to her. One of the clearest signs that she misses you but can't bring herself to admit it is when she starts to subtly circle your world again. It's not a direct approach, it's not a heartfelt message or a confession. It's more subtle, more calculated, yet deeply emotional. She'll reappear in places that remind her of you, or in places she knows you might be. It might be a mutual friends gathering, an event you both used to attend, or even something as seemingly harmless as watching your stories or liking an old photo. These small, calculated behaviors aren't coincidences. They're signals. She's dipping her toe in the water without jumping in. She's trying to be close enough to you that you might notice, but not so close that she risks rejection. It's a defense mechanism. She's hoping you'll do the hard work of interpretation, that you'll pick up on these tiny breadcrumbs and come chasing. Because to reach out directly would mean vulnerability. And vulnerability, when emotions are raw, feels dangerous, especially for someone who's trying to maintain control. That's where the conflict lies. She doesn't want to lose her pride, but she doesn't want to lose you either. So instead of confronting those feelings honestly, she starts playing this quiet psychological game. She'll ask mutual friends how you're doing. She might even mention your name casually, just to see if your name still stings. And when she finds herself missing you more than she expected, these passive approaches become her way of staying connected, even from a distance. Now, it's important you don't mistake this passive presence for active love. You have to understand that missing someone and being ready for them are two very different things. Just because she lingers around your digital space or makes her presence known in your social circles doesn't mean she's ready to rebuild what was lost. Sometimes she's still just wrestling with her own silence. That's why your response matters. You need to remain grounded. Don't get pulled into decoding every little move she makes. Don't slip into the role of the interpreter, trying to attach meaning to every interaction. The best thing you can do is honor what's clear, not what's implied. If she truly wants to reconnect, it won't come through guesses or games. It will come through clarity. Until then, let her orbit. Let her stay in that silent dance of proximity. But you keep walking forward. Because closure isn't found in half steps. It's found in full truths. When she misses you but won't admit it, she starts reacting emotionally to things that normally wouldn't bother her. It could be a simple post you make, a picture with someone else, or even your silence that suddenly triggers an exaggerated response from her. She might not say it outright, but the emotional undertones begin to leak out. Irritability, sarcasm, sudden indifference. These are all defense mechanisms. She's feeling the discomfort of absence, but instead of processing that through vulnerability, she channels it into frustration or emotional withdrawal. It's not that she doesn't care. In fact, the deeper her emotions, the harder it becomes for her to handle them directly. So what does she do? She pushes you away with one hand while silently hoping you won't go too far. That duality creates tension inside her because deep down, she's torn between pride and connection. The mind wants to stay strong and independent, but the heart keeps returning to the moments that made her feel seen, understood, and cared for. When someone is emotionally triggered by your presence or your absence, it means you still hold real estate in their mind. They're not over it, no matter what they say. Emotional intensity doesn't always show up as affection. Sometimes it shows up as defensiveness or overreactions. And that's the contradiction she's stuck in. She might be short with you, dismissive or even rude, not because she hates you, but because missing you makes her feel vulnerable, and that scares her more than losing you ever did. That fear of being exposed, of appearing weak, becomes the barrier between what she feels and what she's willing to express. So she masks it. She'll act indifferent while her emotions run in overdrive behind the scenes. She'll claim she doesn't care, but her actions will keep contradicting her words. You might notice her tone change when your name is mentioned, or how quickly she reacts when she hears about you. It's not subtle when you know what to look for, but to someone unaware, it just seems like she's cold or unpredictable. The truth is, silence and emotion can coexist. Just because she's not speaking to you doesn't mean she's emotionally absent. In fact, the quiet ones are often the ones feeling the most. Her emotional reactions are not random. They're the echoes of unresolved attachment, playing out in unpredictable ways. And if you can recognize that, you'll stop chasing clarity from her words and start observing her behavior instead. That's where the truth always reveals itself, through the emotions that escape the mask. When she truly misses you but won't admit it, one of the most telling signs is her sudden appearance in the places you frequent or in spaces that connect her to your world. She might not say a word, but her presence begins to echo your routine. It's not always intentional or even fully conscious. Sometimes it's simply the pull of familiarity. The human psyche is strange like that. When someone can't bring themselves to reach out, they often settle for the next closest thing, proximity. She may find excuses to be around places where she knows there's a chance she might see you. Maybe she starts showing up at events she never used to attend, or engages with mutual friends more often. It's subtle. She's not barging into your world or making dramatic entrances, but she's there, watching, sensing, maybe hoping for a brief interaction. That's her way of bridging the gap without fully crossing it. This behavior often comes from an inner battle between longing and pride. There's a part of her that wants you to notice she's still connected to you in some way. She doesn't want to make the first move, but she also doesn't want you to forget her. That balance creates a push-pull dynamic. She won't say, "I miss you," but she's hoping you'll see her and say it first. She wants to be seen, not just noticed. Seen for the emotion behind her quiet re-entry into your orbit. And here's the paradox. The more she tries to keep her feelings hidden, the more visible they become. You start to realize that the coincidence of her showing up isn't a coincidence at all. It's a breadcrumb trail back to the emotional space she once shared with you. It's not that she's manipulating. It's that she's human, emotionally conflicted, scared of rejection, and caught in the tension between vulnerability and self-protection. When people miss someone but feel too afraid or too proud to admit it, they often resort to these silent strategies. They won't text, they won't call, but they'll be there. And the presence speaks volumes. It's not loud, but it's deeply intentional. It's the kind of silence that says more than any message ever could. So pay attention not just to what someone says or doesn't say, but where they are and how they move. Because when someone begins to show up, again, not in your inbox, but in your environment, that's not random. That's emotion looking for a safe way back in. One of the final signs that she misses you deeply, but won't dare say it, is when she starts showing an unusual interest in your life again, especially through indirect means. She may not reach out to you directly, but she keeps tabs. She starts asking mutual friends how you're doing, watches your stories without interacting, or likes a post from weeks ago. At first glance, it might seem like harmless curiosity, maybe even accidental, but it's not. It's deliberate and it's emotionally charged. As this kind of behavior isn't random, it's an emotional strategy. She wants to feel close to you again without having to expose herself to the risk of rejection. So instead of asking you how you're really doing, she quietly investigates. She listens for your name in conversation. She scrolls through your updates, not because she's bored, but because she needs that thread of connection, however thin it may be. That digital trail becomes a proxy for the intimacy she doesn't know how to reclaim. And what's fascinating about this is how it reveals the tension inside her. She's torn between two strong forces, her desire to reconnect and her fear of vulnerability. That tension creates these subtle behaviors. She doesn't want to come across as desperate. She doesn't want to be the one who admits that the silence is unbearable, so she compensates by engaging in this quiet form of emotional surveillance. It's not malicious, it's deeply human. This is the mind trying to resolve a conflict the heart hasn't been able to confront. She still cares, she still wonders if you think about her. But rather than step forward and speak it plainly, she clings to safe distances. She studies your movements through a screen. She measures the rhythm of your life from afar. And in doing so, she stays involved, emotionally, if not relationally. What's powerful about this form of silent attention is that it often says more than direct words ever could. Because if she truly didn't care, if she were really done, She wouldn't be checking, she wouldn't be listening, she wouldn't be watching. Disinterest looks like absence, not passive observation. So when she does this, when she lingers at the edges of your world, it's because there's a part of her still holding on, still wondering, still hoping. It's not always about making a move. Sometimes it's just about staying close enough to feel connected without stepping fully into the risk of being seen. And that kind of restraint isn't indifference. It's emotion in disguise. It's longing in a quiet form, hoping you'll recognize it without needing her to say a single word.